Again, I'm Braddock Supervisor John Cook. Welcome back to Braddock Neighborhood News, the program I am using to provide you with information on issues facing our community and ideas on how we can strengthen our neighborhoods. This month, I'm pleased to have with us Cora Foley. Cora is the founder of the Burke West Springfield Senior Center Without Walls and is also one of the most knowledgeable people I know about the history of this area. Today, I'm hoping she'll share some great history stories with us, as well as talk about the senior scene here in the Braddock District and all of Fairfax County. And Cora, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me, John.
Well, appreciate you being here. You know, Cora, we've worked together on the Senior Center Without Walls. It's a great concept, and you got it going. And tell our folks a little bit about what it is.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you very much because you were one of the first supporters of the Senior Center Without Walls. I mean, you got us the second church that supported the Senior Center Without Walls, Burke United Methodist Church. You personally did that, and I'm very grateful to you for doing that. Now, the Senior Center Without Walls is an innovative approach to have a public-private partnership to provide programs for seniors in our neighborhood. Springfield District, where I am, live a little bit at the cusp there of Springfield and Burke, does not have a senior center. So some of the ladies that I work with in the church that I go to, Nativity Catholic Church, I would drive them to Lorton so that they could have their exercise to keep themselves healthy. So one day they asked me if there was any way we could have a program right in our area of Burke and West Springfield. At that time, we had the Springfield supervisor was retiring, so I asked your predecessor, Sharon Boulevard, if she would help us get some appointments with the county folks to ask them if we could have a senior center in our area. I was informed at that time that there was no money nor staff to implement a new senior center in the area. So what we did was we said, well, all right, how do we do a program so that seniors can have their fitness program, social interaction, and intellectual stimulation in the area without having to build a center? So we came up with this project, and I must thank Evan Braff of the Fairfax County Neighborhood and Community Services, because he worked with us in trying to think out of the box to see a way to get programs to keep our seniors healthier. As you know, if you count 45 and up seniors or residents who are 45 and up in the Burke area, you're talking almost 30%. And if you're talking 50 and up, you know, that's quite a big chunk of the neighborhood, and it's growing as people like me retire. And by having fitness programs, you can help them get a better life, not only for themselves, but for their children and for the community. So we started, as I said, with line dancing at Accotink Unitarian Universalist Church. And then we were looking for a second church, and you came to the rescue. You know, on your white horse. So
the horse isn't out the pasture yet. But.
I really appreciate your helping us. And then after that, other churches have come in. I must thank the Burke Conservancy. They have been very kind as to provide free facilities. The way it works is you get free donated facilities, so we don't have to pay for the facilities. And then in terms of staff, we volunteer. So for example, I manage the line dancing on Saturdays, to which you must come and dance at one of these days.
Not if there's a camera present.
And then we just pay for the instructors. So we charge a minimum of $5 for 8 2-hour classes of line dancing, which is pretty good.
And you know, Cora, there's a lot of great things about this program, one of which is that it illustrates the concept that the real essence of a center isn't the physical building, but it's the bringing people together part. And that you don't need to build a standalone facility to have a center. It can be a nice thing to have, but what you need is the people. And you got the people together. And then by getting a second great concept, which is the partnership aspect of, and it's one of the things we do best in Fairfax County, is people working together. Nonprofit groups, the government, churches, businesses, and this program's a great example of them working together to say, okay, we don't have a standalone building, so how do we take these people, and take this vibrant idea, and have people partner to give us the physical location, move it around to different places, and provide the programming. And now, I mean, how many awards has the Senior Center Without Walls won? I mean, it seems like we're honoring you all the time, or you're getting some award here and there. And it's because the programming's so good, and it's all done without a physical space, meaning that there are very little out-of-pocket cost, very little dollars, but the benefits are tremendous.
And it's a tribute to the people of the Burke West Springfield area. Not only the seniors, everybody has pitched in. With all all generations, if you will, have come in and tried to help because they saw it. I mean, we see it as a program to benefit the community, to strengthen the community. And I must thank you, by the way, because the programs that you're doing to get more community engagement, I think, is very important, because we have a lot of people who really want to give to the community, and by having programs that allow them to interact with each other and figure out how they can work together, I think is tremendous. One of the things I do want to mention is that our program, when we calculated the cost to the county of doing our program with all the donations, came to about 10% gross, and with the $5 that people give in, it's only 5% of the $100,000 that the county spends for a senior center. So, so not only were we able to have programs to benefit the community, we're able to do it at a very fiscally responsible way, and above all, we've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you guys
really
do
the
have
best
fun.
part
I
of
mean,
it.
and I'm just glad I haven't gotten dragged into the line dancing or the Tai Chi yet, because I wouldn't look good
Sharon
doing that.
Boulevard did Tai Chi, I must tell you, on TV.
I know you've threatened me with that, so I appreciate that. But you know, it's great. You know, you've got a great group, and I've been able to come around to some of the events and see you. And you've got people who are enthusiastic about participating, volunteers who are enthusiastic about helping out, and so that whole community spirit that you've really put together has been it's a great example of the kinds of things that you know, I'm encouraging in the county with volunteerism and community efforts.
You certainly have, and the only thing I would say is that I didn't do it. It was there. It was just a matter of us getting together and doing it. I wanted to again say that Evan Braff played a major role in doing the project, because one of the things that we ran into when we were trying to push this innovation was that the facilities, the groups that wanted to donate facilities were a little concerned about liability. Mm-hmm. So by having the county come in and say, you know, we can provide the coverage like we do for schools when they have programs in private facilities, then that eased some of the concerns of the churches that have been very generous in donating facilities for us.
Yeah, that's you know, one of the aspects of why the partnership model works so well is the best thing that the county brings to the table. It's not just liability coverage, but it's the administrative work. You know, Evan's great county public servant, a great knowledge of how to organize programs,
exactly.
establish programs.
Mm-hmm.
How do you administer? Because you have to have some administration, and so that's what the county's bringing to the table in this program. And of course, the community is bringing the people and the spirit, and you're coordinating that, and then the businesses and the churches and the organizations that donate the space. So, you know, it's a matter of everyone finding what they're good at and putting that piece of the puzzle together. And
the reason I think that we were getting the awards, and you asked about awards, I mean, we did get the national award from EPA, we got the National Association of Counties Award, we got the Best of Braddock Award, we got an award from the Fairfax Federation of Citizens Association. I think really what those awards underscore is that we have found a model, which we're still developing, it's not totally developed yet, that could answer what everybody says is a tsunami, a great increase in the number of people retiring who would like to have some way to interact, you know, with physical fitness, with social interaction, with intellectual activities that are affordable. And so I think, and in fact, you're working on 50 plus right now in the county. And that's, I know Sharon was saying that's one of the things that you were trying to consider. I mean, the county can't build, you know, another senior center, another senior center, another senior center. It was beginning to be a major concern. How do you address the issue of the rising number of retirees in Fairfax County as part of the county's program for improving the quality of life for everybody? And in a funny sort of way, because when I came in and asked for a senior center and there was no money nor staff to address it at that time like they used to, we were forced to sit down and say, well, let's think this through. And because Fairfax County has so many very bright people, very energetic and very generous people, we came up with a solution. Now, I'd be the last to say that we found the solution, but I think the reason we got those awards was because people who have been trying to wrestle with this issue of how to improve the quality of life for everybody, particularly the seniors that are retiring, saw that perhaps we came up with a way to address it.
Right. I think you certainly have shown that the model works, and the model broadly defined being partnership, bringing people together. The county doing a very good job of facilitating, but the need for the energetic community, person such as yourself who takes the latent energy of the community and activates it and get people to come out. And you're right, there's a demand. There is a demand within the community of people who want to be active and want to do things and want to just get out and have some fun, but they need a way to get that organized. Mm-hmm. And one of the side benefits of the partnership model is that there's an energy that comes from the organization of it. That when the people come together to work and plan it, they generate energy. And if it's only a government program model where somebody else is doing all the planning, the design, the administration, then it's kind of like, oh, I can show up for their program. What the Senior Center Without Walls has is ownership. The participants
Exactly.
really feel that it's their program.
Exactly.
So they're going to participate in their program, not to be at someone else's program. And that's just a tremendous difference, and it's a conceptual difference. And that's where the power of, I think, the model comes from.
And that's why I said I think I appreciate very much what you've been doing with the programs that you're encouraging community engagement and community leadership. The only thing I have to say is I must ask you to plan it when we're not having our line dance.
Well, it's we get busy. We get busy in the county, but that's maybe a good segue to some other topics, because we are a county that has a lot of people, a lot of very active people, a lot of different things going on. You're a great example of somebody involved in so many different things, and one of your interests has been history.
Well, what I wanted to say actually is that the Burke, West Springfield area, Fairfax County, but particularly this area where we've lived there since 1980, it's a great place to retire. My husband and I retired on April 1, 2007. We chose that date, told us we got our retirement, and we said, okay, we're going to go. We went together at the same time, and we went to Spain five days later. But life here in Fairfax County is so good for a retiree. There's so much that one can do in terms not only of, I said, the physical activity, social interaction, but the history of the place is so fascinating. My own involvement in it actually started just as I was about to retire, and the county was doing this project. It was the Fairfax County Stories to celebrate 400 years of Jamestown. Well, I got one of those invitations from the county saying, would like people to volunteer to help us put together this legacy book. So I told my husband, well, let's go, let's find out. I mean, we're finally going to have time. We used to, wake up real early, take the slug line, go to the State Department and then the CIA, come back at night about 7:30, and we never really got to know what we wanted to know about our county. And we were watching the farm that was near us, right near Pohick Library, disappear. We were seeing so many changes, and we knew there was so much that we really want to preserve for our grandchildren, the stories, particularly since our two grandchildren were the first Foleys in our family to be born here. So this is their land. I want to tell them about their land. So anyway, back to Fairfax County Stories. I walked in, and so I looked at the outline. So I saw the outline, and I said, no, how can you write a book about 400 years of Fairfax County and not even have a story about the Asian Americans who are the largest minority group, have been the largest minority group in Fairfax County? So I got the same answer I got with the Senior Center Without Walls, which is, when are you writing your story?
There you go. See, come up with an idea, and there you go. We put you to work.
Anyway, I did actually thought about it, and I decided, all right, I'm going to write about the 1898 Spanish-American War, because that started the relationship, really the intense relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines, where I came from.
That's right, your home
So I
country.
wrote about, exactly, I was born in the Philippines. So I thought, all right, I'll write about the 1898 Spanish-American War and talk about the history of the Asian Americans in the U.S. And particularly in Fairfax County. It talked about education, business, civic participation, volunteerism of Asian Americans here. So I did that, and then after it was finished, I started going around talking to the History Commission saying, well, how come you haven't done anything, a book on the Fairfax County Asian Americans? I mean, we take history very seriously here. I mean, after all, George Washington lived here. This is serious stuff. And you cannot have a history that ignores a major portion of your society. America is all about including everybody. That's what democracy is.
Right.
So of course, again, I got the next question. Where is your book?
And here it goes. You
Here
got
it
the
goes.
stack.
2010. And again, I have to thank Sharon Boulevard. There must be something special about the waters in Braddock District,
It
because
is.
the supervisors have been tremendous and wonderful about engaging with the community. I met Sharon at on Memorial Day in 2007 at Fairfax Memorial Park, where my father was buried. So I went up to her and I said, you know, and she was been working on the Braddock True Gold at that
True
time.
Gold,
So
right.
I said, I'd like to do something about Fairfax County Asian American history. And bless her heart, she said, sure, come on over, let's talk about it. You know, almost like you. And I said, we need a church. She said, sure. You did that. And by the way, let me take this time also to thank you for agreeing this year to co-sponsor the Fairfax County Asian American History Project. We really are continuing our work for the next few years with our annual naturalization programs and our continued research. And to have bipartisan leadership in co-sponsoring our program is really important. I really appreciate that. Thank you again.
You're welcome. You know, it's a great program. It's you know, you're completely right that it's important to recognize all aspects of our community, and your efforts with the History Project and doing those things, a great help to the greater community. The naturalization ceremonies, for those who haven't been to one, and I went, I think it was
You
last
were
year or
there
the year
the
before.
first one.
Yeah.
The first one.
What a boy! It really invigorates your spirit in America to see people who have, you know, committed themselves, coming from another country and said, this is going to be my country now, and taking that pledge. It's a great thing, and I would encourage all citizens of the county who have not been to one, find a day to come out. You know, they're held. We have them at the Government Center. The federal court does them on a regular basis. Come out and see a day when people are taking the oath to be Americans. It's a great event.
And we have new Americans who have already served as soldiers,
That's right.
defending American values before they even became before they even got their certificate. So it's truly moving in that sense. And in an interesting sort of way, this was also historic, because this was the first ever naturalization ceremonies ever done in Fairfax County Government Center. So in a way, we are making history, but we make history every day. But we chose the naturalization ceremony as a way to celebrate Asian American Heritage Month, because as you know, the history of this country has been such that in 1790, you know, naturalization was limited only to free white persons. So Asian Americans, along with others, were excluded at the time. It took long years of struggle for Asian Americans to actually have citizenship rights. So we thought, as the largest minority group here in Fairfax County, it is appropriate for us to take a leadership and welcome the new Americans, and celebrating, in fact, the progress in civil rights in our country. And talking about civil rights, the other book that I was working on, which I'd love to talk about, is this little Zion Baptist Church.
That's right.
It's a church across from where I live. And the reason I got involved in it, you know, one thing leads to another, right? Is because there is a Korean American church in it now. It's called Happiness Presbyterian Church. So as part of my other book, I decided to go in and find out about it. Well, lo and behold, I found out that this was an African American church built in 1891 by freed slaves. These were people who, after the Civil War, decided to donate land and build a church so that their community could have a place to worship, a place for burial, and a place for education. And it's such a fascinating story that I decided to try and document it for a historic marker. We're still working on that one. But in the process...
We're going to get that marker, though, aren't we?
We will get that
Yeah,
marker.
that's right.
But in the process, I got another book, which I thought was interesting because I found out that that church was related to the Woods Community Center here in Burke Conservancy in Braddock District. And that's a place where we do our line dancing. Well, it turns out that that place was purchased in 1803 by the Cofer family. So the Cofer home is worth a historic marker. And the Board of Trustees of the Burke Conservancy voted to spend some funds to have a historic marker for that. So we'll get this historic marker sometime this year. I'm working with the Historic Commission on that one. But to me, it's amazing as I tell the people who are line dancing when I go visit them. You know, here we are line dancing, and if you think of ghosts in old house, people were dancing here at the time of Thomas Jefferson. Isn't that amazing? And the Cofer family's history actually included working with George Washington, George Mason, Thomas Jefferson, and a member of the Cofer family founded Fairfax City. For me, it's such an amazing story and so important for young Burke residents, particularly our grandchildren, to know whose footsteps were here before and that they're following, you know, and what these people did to build what became Burke. My next project actually is going to be a coloring book for my grandchildren.
Hey, now, show everybody the front of the book. That's right, so we can see that too.
Oh yeah, this is my family. These are the two homes we've had here. We live in West Springfield and in Burke. It's still part of the Burke census designated place. And our house is very near the Cofer home and also the Little Zion Baptist Church. But there is so much here in the Burke West Springfield area that I actually am working on a driving trail of historic Burke, particularly for the seniors, who are now getting more interested in what happened here. And
it is a fascinating history.
Oh my God, yes.
And we learn a lot about ourselves. We can connect to the past, learn about our history, and that helps prepare us to set our vision for the future, to have a sense of the community over time. So community is not just something that exists in a snapshot, but we have a history and we have a future, and we can tie those things together. And you know, you were speaking of civil rights and the great progress that's been made, and more work to be done, and more work that will be done, and the history of that, and how we pull that forward. And you've documented some of that in your books, and in the continued efforts with the naturalization ceremonies and everything else. And so that's great that we're working on the history and working on looking at the future all at the same time.
Well, just to tell you, during my interviews, because we did a lot of oral history interviews of the Asian Americans who live here, several of them had experienced discrimination and unfair treatment in California and Chicago, where they came from. One even was interned during World War II as a Japanese American. But they all of them said that here in Fairfax County, they felt accepted. And actually, on a personal note, in other places that we went, because we were in the Foreign Service, so we went in different places, Mike and I got used to being stared at. You know, since in the last decade or so, I don't think anybody stares at me here anymore. I'm part of the community, and it feels so good to be able to do that. And I think Fairfax County has done a tremendous job. I take my hat off to the Board of Supervisors, to the leaders of Fairfax County, who've tried to make this a strong, integrated community as much as possible. I mean, of course, we're human beings, you know, things happen.
But, you know, and it's the people. I think what draws us together in Fairfax County, the values that we have of, you know, of hard work and excellence, engagement, education, that's what it means to live in Fairfax County. And those values go across racial lines, ethnic lines, nationalities, age groups, economic status, and we're really held together by those principles that we live by, and it's what makes the county such a great place to live.
But it's also important to remind our youth that one should not take these things for granted.
Right.
I mean, I watched Yugoslavia when it had the Olympics, and everybody was saying, it's done, it's made, we've succeeded, Tito has done it, we'll never be divided again. And you cannot take those things for granted. So I think it is important to remind our youth in particular that we are blessed with this multicultural gathering of residents who like to work together, but it's important to work at it because there was a time when that wasn't the case.
That's right, and we do, and as we work on it, it makes our community stronger, makes our county stronger, and you know, that's really the essence of what we have in Fairfax County: strong communities, excellence in education, committed, engaged citizens. And you know, I thank you for all the work that you've done to make the county a better place to live, recording the history. And there's so much more we could talk about, but we're running out of time. I want to thank Cora for joining us and talking about the rich history of the county, as well as sharing some of the things going on at the Senior Center Without Walls. She's a valuable member of our community and a great example of the type of engaged citizen we want to cultivate here in Fairfax County. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of Braddock Neighborhood News. Thank you for watching. Tune in next month for another edition, and please remember to look for ways to volunteer. Your community needs you.